What we have here is a very unique drum, probably a one-off by the Leedy Drum Company. In my mind, I think what happened here is that in the early 1940s, say 1941 to 42 or so, an order came in for a metal Broadway snare drum. And at the time, there was restrictions on the manufacture of metal drums. There was a law that was put into effect that said that only a certain amount of the drum could actually have metal in it. It was the drum companies were considered non-essential, so they could only have a little bit of metal in it. So they'd have drums that had wood hoops, that had wood lugs. All of the companies, Slingerland, Leedy, Ludwig, WFL, Gretsch probably too, had all variations of a drum that they called the dreadnought. Now, the dreadnought drum was a drum that they had wood hoops and wood lugs and just tension rods. This drum is a brass drum that was originally coated in nickel, like most brass drums are from the time period. This particular one was probably a leftover Reliance drum, which was not necessarily a student model drum, but it was one under the top of the line. It was the second line, okay? It had tube lugs, it had single flange hoops with clips, and this drum was probably already drilled out, and maybe there was no real, great rush to get Reliance snare drums at that point. But somebody wanted to get a Broadway. So somebody had the bright idea of taking this particular drum and re-drilling it for the new beaver tail lugs that Leedy had come out with in the late 1930s. Here it is. It's probably 1942 or so. They already have the nice throw off here, but everything was drilled originally for that Reliance drum. So what this company had to do is they had to go back to the shell. They had to take off the name badge, Reliance, first of all, and they had to drill the bottom part of the lug. And it just worked out that that lug would fit around the little bead there. Now, so far, so good. Now, the problem that they ran into was that they had originally drilled this out for probably called a Presto throw off and butt. And because of it, there was extra holes that had been drilled in the shell that someone expertly filled in with brass and then expertly plated again with nickel on the inside. So you can see there's evidence that there were holes that were filled in and kind of softened over. There's the nice. I'm just showing you the nice Leedy throw off right there. Probably the nicest throw off that they ever manufactured. It allowed this particular drum to have its snares extended completely on the, if I don't know if you can see it right there, on the underside of the drum there. There you go. You can see the snares extend completely across the drum. And but that throw off and the butt end of that particular throw off had slightly different heights for where the holes were. So they could use some of the stuff that they had before, but they had to make some adjustments because since it's extended past the entire drum, it has to be done exactly right. So it's my thought in that case is that the only people that would be able to really do this properly at that time would have been the manufacturer itself. Now, I'm guessing they decided not to stamp the Leedy Broadway name on the bottom rim, primarily because this wasn't really one of the Leedy Broadways that would be in line. The after the drum had been drilled and filled in, obviously those holes would be visible on the outside as well. So someone said, well, we're going to plate this. So they chrome plated it on the outside. So you cannot see any holes on the outside at all. So it looks like a seamless thing. And the top rim is in such good condition. My guess is that it may possibly be as late as the 1950s for that particular rim. Although they had rims like that in the 1940s, this one is in exceptionally great condition. And the drum tunes up beautifully. I love this particular shell, this chrome over, as it turns out, chrome over nickel over brass drum shell, which was similar to the Ludwig Supras of the late 1950s. And I fell in love with that shell. and I haven't been able to find one since, but I found this one, and I said, what better? We have the combination of the great Leedy technology and that particular shell of the time, and this is going to make one hell of a snare drum. So I hope you enjoy it, and here we go.